sometimes we go through things in life as children and we experience psychological traumas and situations that alter our behavior and make us mistrust people, and therefore we cannot open ourselves up to people. And as a result of that closure, sometimes we missed out on opportunities in life that the Father had created for us to step into. And we sometimes sabotage even situations in our life that are meant to take us to our next level. But because we are so hurt and so damaged by the things and the cares of life and the things that has happened to us and the pain that we feel or the pain that we suppress as adults that we have experienced in our life when we were children or while we were growing up, we don't want to actually face those issues. So to heal those situations so that we can actually step into who we're supposed to be. Sometimes we sabotage situations in our lives that God is sending to make us better and to heal us from those childhood wounds. And most of the time in a person's life, when you look at things that happening to them or but the behavior patterns and the way they operate, most of these issues stem from childhood experience. That's why it is so important to kind of protect a child while they're growing to ensure that they don't develop no set of childhood issues going forward so that they can become healthy adults. But we have to forgive sometimes our parents who themselves also experienced childhood trauma and did not know how to be effective parenting. And now we are in a society where the effective parenting, now there are courses that you can take for that. But in time past, there weren't courses. It's by trial and error. And the parents sometimes will do the best that they can given the circumstances that they have. And the best sometimes wasn't good enough, and we as adults sometimes have to face these demons and overcome them in order to be able to become whole and complete and not be damaged. And sometimes God will send people in your life who are meant to help you, and we can sabotage these relationships with people because of the fact that we were damaged. And it's only through repeated trials and tribulations that we come to that understanding. And I was reflecting on something that happened in my life. And it's not necessarily that I didn't go through childhood trauma. I experienced different traumas in my life as well as a child. However, because of my relationship with God, the Most High God, God has been able to teach me how to turn my pain into my power. And I have used, and for me, I have always been a motivator to use my pain as a stepping stone to take me higher. So for me, whenever you tell me I can't or I shouldn't or you try to put me down, I automatically use that as an elevator to take me higher. So I have used that, and that is my weakness, I think, when I look at weakness, but it's also a strength because I can identify now the reason why I always accelerate a higher level is because I turn my pain into my power. I step on my issues, I step on my pain, and I go higher because how dare you say I cannot do this? Or how dare you tell me I cannot do that? So whatever you are saying to me or trying to sow into me to make me feel bad about myself or to make me feel that I am less than or that I cannot accomplish certain things or to bring me down or to put me in a state of depression or mental handicap, I use it to show you that whatever you say about me, I'm going to prove to you that what you say about me is not correct. So for me, in my lifetime, I would say that my enemies have always been my greatest motivators. My enemies has actually helped me to accelerate to the place that I am and place that I'm going. Because my enemies and their jealousy continue to come at me, I have been able to step up. Don't ever say that I can't or you feel that you have overpowered me or bring me down to a place because I am going to step out of that place and I'm going to step higher than that place and you're going to have to watch me climb higher. So I have always turned my pain into my stepping stones. But unfortunately, there are many persons out there who have allowed the pain and the anguish that they felt as children and the situation that they feel to cripple them in some way, some form, or some fashion. And therefore, they have not allowed themselves to be open to love or to receive love. And every one of us needs love in our life. Love is the ultimate goal that the Lord talks about. He said, I am love, right? And the greatest of them is love. Love bears no right and it bears no wrong. Love covers a multitude of sin. Love see no evil. Okay? So we as human was created with a capacity to receive love. And when that love is lacking in our life, what we have is really a mentally distorted person. A person that may look whole on the outside, but on the inside, that person is damaged badly. And that damage that that person is suffering from can create a void in that person's life and make that person be very bitter internally. They may not show, they may smile and make joke, but in their quiet moments, their mind is distorted. They do things to people that sometimes they don't understand why people seem to project a form of happiness. And therefore, they get some kind of satisfaction in administering their pain onto others. Sometimes you have a boss and the way they operate with you or the way how they operate on the whole, they appears to be a whole person. They sound logical, but underneath the logic, they're very deceitful or they're very manipulative or they have a way about trying to make sure that you are not comfortable in your workplace or even in your home. You may have a husband and he looks like he's whole, but really he has this underlying attitude and behavior like he doesn't want to see you truly happy. He is always trying to manipulate a situation, looking for quarrel, looking to make sure that everybody in the house is miserable. And this could be man or woman. I'm not just picking on men, right? I'm a woman, so I'm referring to it as a man. But from a man's point of view, sometimes they end up with a wife the same way. And for thy kingdom come, you can't seem to get peace in your home because there's always this level of confusion and distortion in your home, and that now breeds now into the children as well, who is now going to grow up with distortion in their system that is going to repeat this whole cycle over and over, and we are projecting this into society as a whole. And we wonder why society is in the condition that it is in. It is what we are actually feeding into society. We are putting out poison in our families and sending them out into the world system to continue to spur more and more poison. And it's a vicious cycle. But we have to come to that place because even, sometimes we say, like, I experienced something in my life with my husband, and it's a terrible situation, and sometimes I don't like to discuss my business, but by discussing my business I probably am able to heal someone. And I know that the situation with my husband is one of childhood trauma, and I can see that he didn't have a love for himself. And if somebody can't love themselves, then they can't love you properly. So therefore he needed to heal that. And because he needed to heal that and didn't know how to heal it, he find himself being sabotaging the relationship between us, always creating drama or issues in a way that to cause the relationship to go down a road that was spiraling downwards rather than being elevated upwards. And it's because he was afraid of his own emotions and his ability to open up. He didn't want to open up because he's accustomed to being, resentful or bitter or locked off. And he didn't want to feel that, soft and tender side. He didn't want to be vulnerable, and sometimes, people would say you stay with this relationship too long and you should have left that relationship, But for me, my commitment was not only to my husband, but unto God. And I believe in God's plan and purpose for my life. And if God put me in a situation and maybe I am the one to help him heal, or for whatever reason the Lord put me into his life, then I am not going to abandon it unless the Lord gives me permission to do so. And I remember now the story of the Israelites when they left Egypt. And the Lord is showing me that this morning. So it doesn't mean that because somebody is damaged, sometimes that you had to stay in a relationship with them because they're damaged, and you are there to heal them, right? Because the Israelites was damaged. God had a purpose for them. His plan was to take them into the land flowing with milk and honey. That was his intention. He told them the plan. And God was patient with them. They left Egypt, but yet still their mindset was still stuck in the past. They were going into a new level. God was taking them higher. He was trying to show them what was ahead of them. But yet still, because they had a promise. They had a promise from a God who delivered them by supernatural might, by supernatural miracles. They actually saw the miracles of God. So therefore, their faith and trust in his word should have been enough. But yet still, they still wanted to go back to the Pharaoh way of thinking, because they didn't want to open up themselves to the love of God, because they are accustomed being locked off. They are accustomed being bitter. They are accustomed, having to deal with the poverty mentality. They are accustomed being the victim. They are accustomed being abused. And psychologically, in their mind, even though they're tired of being abused while they were there, they still cannot see themselves being worthy of really opening up and being in that place where they don't have to be abused no more, where they can actually enjoy life. They couldn't picture that life, because to them, they were already comfortable in the abuse. And people who are damaged sometimes become comfortable in the abuse. They are comfortable in whatever situation they find themselves in. So therefore, they don't want to leave that situation, because to come out of their comfort zone is too much effort it will take for them to actually destroy the thought that they have, the mind that they have, the what is happening, the mindset that they already programmed themselves to be in. So for them to destroy that, it's going to be a painful thing now to step into something that you're not aware of and you're not sure of. So they rather hold on to that. And because of the Israelites' desire to hold on to the bitterness, hold on to the pain, hold on to the trauma, hold on to what they are accustomed to, even though God had a better plan for them. Because God can have the greatest plan for you, but if you decide to hold on to what you're comfortable with, if you decide to hold on to what you feel and you feel it might be hurtful, and you're complaining how it's hurtful, but you don't want to leave it because that is what you know. It's familiar. It's already, it come like it comforting you. You don't want to let it go. If you don't want to let it go, then God is not going to come and take it away from you. You have to actually give it up to receive it. Sometimes you want to put things inside of you, but you're already full with certain things that is not good for you. So you have to empty yourself of that in order for God to fill you with something new. You can't receive something new if you don't have room to receive it. Now, I could want to pour water onto you, but if you're already full, then you cannot receive the water I want to pour. You cannot receive. I could give you food. Yes, you had ate something else before, and I could have fine dining for you. But if your belly is already full, you cannot eat anymore. So it means to say you have to pass up on the fine dining, even though what you would have ate before might not even be a balanced diet. So God can't give you something if you don't have room to receive it. You have to make room to receive it. So sometimes we have to take a purge. Sometimes we need to take a laxative where we can pass out all the things that stuff up inside and stick up in all our intestines. They tell you about cleaning your colon, and all these things will block up your intestines and probably cause it to get infections and diseases and whatever. So sometimes we need to take a laxative. We need to take a flush out so that we can get rid of everything that is inside, that's sticking up all inside, that's causing all kind of mucus buildup and all kind of bile and all kind of thing inside our stomach, or whatever the case may be. Flush it out so that we can make room for something new, so that our body can absorb this new nutrition and really bring nutrition to our bodies and heal our bodies. Sometimes we need to make room, and if we don't make that room, we would find ourselves now like the Egyptians, not like Egypt, sorry, the Israelites that was in the desert. So even though God had a land flowing with milk and honey for them, he had to leave them in the desert for 40 years. That wasn't God's intention. God's intention was to take them into a land flowing with milk and honey. But if you don't want to receive what God has for you, then He had to leave you in the place where you're stuck. So if you're stuck with a mindset of Egypt and are trying to take you into a promised land, then I have to leave you now in the desert place, in your dry place, in a place where there's no real growth. Because when you're stuck in your past, there can never be any fruitfulness, because you're stuck in something that has already gone. It's already gone. That part of your life is already finished. It's dead. It's no longer revivable. It is buried. But you still holding on to the dead bones and the dead, and sitting down by the dead grave and crying every day because you want to get back to that place. You want to go in the grave with the dead. Well, then go in the grave with the dead. Stay in the desert place where you have no fruitfulness, where you have no happiness, where you have to struggle for everything, right? Where you have no love, you have no connection between you, where you're only fighting and bickering every day. You understand? And all it have is toxicity. Then stay there until you die. God had to wait for them toxic people to die out, because that's all they know. So that the next generation, who is not even aware of what Egypt is really about, can't even remember nothing about Egypt. They may have heard the stories, but hearing the stories doesn't really make it a part of their life. So now they are open now to receive something new. And God had to wait for that generation to rise up to take them into the promised land. So He had to wait for your children. So God have some promises for you. Sometimes that you had to wait for your children to get big enough to fulfill, because you don't want to move into the promised land at all. You don't even want to. You're so wicked to your own self and even to your children by not letting go, that you don't even want to go into the promised land as an adult so that your children could grow up in the land with milk and honey. You want your children to stay in that dry desert place with you, to experience that lack and that poverty while they're in the desert with you, because the children can't go on their own. They have to go with you. And sometimes we need to move, not only for ourselves, but for the next generation, for our children too. Because if you don't heal yourself, you are not going to be the right kind of mother to your children. If you don't heal yourself, you're not going to be the right kind of wife or husband to your wife. If you don't heal yourself, you will not be the right kind of person in society to your neighbors and your workplace, and to really help elevate people, because you need to heal yourself. Because until you heal yourself or open yourself to healing, and it's going to be hard, you cannot love somebody the way you're supposed to. And the Word of God says, "Oh, no man nothing but love." So this is my message to you this morning. Let go and heal yourself. Allow yourself to heal. You are deserving of love. You are deserving of someone caring for you. Not everybody is the same. Now, there may be, by and large, there are many people who will come into your life, and they will come for a reason. They will come for a season. They may not be a life partner. But bet your bottom dollar, there is a life partner there who will love you unconditionally. And when that person reaches, you must be able to identify who that person is in your life, and not be afraid to open yourself to be really loved by that person. I'm not saying to open yourself to everybody, but you can be a little cautious. It's good to be a little cautious to protect yourself to some extent. But if you are seeing where this person is genuinely caring for you and genuinely showing you love, open yourself to it. It just might be God sending you your life partner to help you complete this journey and to step into who you're supposed to be. Because love is the one that conquers everything. Love is the most powerful energy there is on the earth. And the Word of God does say, "Oh, no man nothing but love." We ought to love each other as we love ourselves. So thank you very much, and I pray that this message helps.